Hey, everybody. Happy Friday night. I hope that you have had an amazing week and that you are enjoying your weekend and that things are going super duper well for you. I am Haley Gray. I am the founder of the Women's Entrepreneur Network. I am also a digital marketer by trade, which means that I own Fiercely Marketing, which is a small digital marketing agency where we do websites, social media management, ads, search engine optimization. And yes, I do a ton with Facebook groups because I am a Facebook certified community manager. And I work here in the Women's Entrepreneur Network doing this, but I also help my clients with Facebook groups. But tonight's topic is a little bit different. And I wanted to do this because I had a couple of interesting comments on my Facebook profile this week. And hello, Meg, and hello, Patty. And I want to start tonight's talk off with one of my super attractor cards. And we're going to talk tonight about your value. And this is like going to be a bit of a personal rant from me. And might show you some of the stuff going on in my kind of crazy world, in my crazy head. So Patty, in honor of you, I am going to pull the top card because I think that this one will be amazing for you. It says, as soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power toward what I want. So tonight's topic is on your value. And your value is not your size. It's not your weight. It's not your skin color. It's not your hair color. It's not whether you're wearing makeup. It's not whether you're a male or a female, your gender identity, lack thereof. It is not your sexual orientation. Your value is not your mental health status. Your value has absolutely nothing to do with physical or mental disabilities. Your value has absolutely nothing to do with your religion. Your value has absolutely nothing to do with your politics. Your value has absolutely nothing to do with whether you are brown-eyed or blue-eyed or green-eyed or something else. Your value has absolutely nothing to do with physical traits, mental traits, or anything else. Your value comes from your spirit, from your soul, and each and every single one of us has tremendous value. Part of what's triggering me a little bit is that I actually shared a picture earlier this week of me from about 3 years ago. And what I found particularly interesting is that people make assumptions about why and how I gained weight. So let me be clear. I had bariatric surgery about 18 months ago. About 2 years ago, I started a very serious, very persistent weight loss journey to improve my health. But not just to improve my health, but to improve quality of life. I was over 400 pounds and I'm down 175 pounds, which means I'm not thin. Probably never will be. But what's happened has been really fascinating because a lot of people assume that I suddenly feel better, that I am better, that I'm somehow smarter, that I somehow have more worth. Yes, I think that people sometimes assume that I am more intelligent since I'm thinner. I certainly get treated very, very differently. And what is fascinating to me is that I didn't really lose the weight because I was on the cusp of a health disaster. And in fact, I had absolutely no comorbidities. Which actually made getting bariatric surgery proved kind of hard because I was pretty healthy despite the fact that I was 400 pounds. The only reason they approved it was that I weighed so much. For me, the reason I did it was to be able to get out and go walk and do things that I wasn't able to do, that I was being restricted by my body from doing because I was hauling around way too much weight. How I gained the weight had nothing to do with self-esteem. It had nothing to do with my self-value. It had none of that. It had to do more with the fact that I was taking care of 4 kids and my 2 parents. And I honestly was so focused on taking care of everybody else that I wasn't taking care of myself. And thank you, Meg. I appreciate it. But what I find really fascinating about the whole journey is that, you know, I've gotten healthier. I've exercised. Trust me, this morning I had my butt kicked in the gym and I'm actually kind of so sore right now. We went out walking tonight and I was having trouble keeping up with my normal rate of walking. And we kind of decided to turn around after about a half a mile, which was like way on the low side for me because I was just so sore. But you know, it's really fascinating to me because there's this interesting set of societal norms and societal rules where people make a lot of judgments based on your religion, based on your sexual orientation, based on your political leanings, based on your weight, based on wearing makeup or not wearing makeup or looking a certain way or having gray hair. Lord knows I have gray hair and it does crazy things. And it's really fascinating to me from a sociological and a psychological perspective to see the judgments that are made about people, you know, based on random criteria that have absolutely nothing to do with anything. We're making these snap judgments based on nothingness. And we're making all these assumptions about somebody's health without any kind of information other than, oh, you look like you must feel really bad. Oh, look, you must feel so much better. So I get all of these projections about how I must feel. Y'all, I feel better some days, but some days I really don't. Some days I feel like I got hit by a Mack truck. I will say I have more mobility now. I'm able to do things I couldn't do before, like get in and out of things. And, you know, I'm obviously a lot smaller, so there's certain benefits to that. But as far as like feeling better, not necessarily. And in fact, you know, with bariatric surgery, there are certain tendencies to be anemic and other things. So it doesn't mean that I necessarily feel better, but people project that you must feel better onto me. And it's really interesting in a business scenario because people assume that I must be smarter, that I must be more competent. I will tell you that people question me a lot less about my marketing suggestions or business suggestions now than they did before I lost the weight. Even though my education level hasn't changed, my experience level isn't really that different in 18 months. You know, and it's really fascinating to me. So I see all of these judgments being made, and a lot of them are being directed at me. Some of them good and some of them not so good. And some of these projections of our own issues, you know, onto someone else. Like, oh, well, if you're overweight, you must be incredibly unhealthy. Well, maybe, maybe not. Or, you know, you look at somebody who looks like they are the picture of perfect health. I have several friends who look like they're perfectly healthy. They're battling multiple autoimmune disorders. They are battling lots of different health issues. They have chronic headaches. They have all these other problems going on. But because you can't look at them and tell it, and because they have on beautiful faces of makeup and their nails are done or whatever, you assume that they feel amazing all the time. And there's this projection of, oh my gosh, you're just amazing. Where in fact, you know, me at 400 pounds, I probably was feeling a whole lot better on the daily average basis than they were. Yes. And thank you, Dr. Flo. I mean, it is really interesting to me to see this. And, you know, I think that the judgment a lot of times comes from us ourselves, and we're projecting our feelings onto other people. And it does speak of your values or how you see things. I mean, I have seen cases where, you know, in the digital marketing industry, people will assume that you're a little bit artistic around the edges. Yes, we do have people on our team who are definitely artistic around the edges, but at the core of the day, half of my team is almost half my team is project managers and engineers, which are definitely not the artistic type. And we tend to dress like project managers and engineers do and computer programmers do, which I'll give you a hint. Most computer programmers, you're going to have a hard time getting them out of either their shorts or their jeans. And if you guys saw how I dressed most days, you would get it, because I wear jeans or shorts most days and hiking boots. And yes, I'm ugly, and my mother dresses me funny, and my kid's mother wears army boots. I don't really wear army boots. I just wear hiking boots. But seriously, it's interesting to see the projections that happen. And a lot of times it affects our own self-esteem because of the way that other people are treating us. I have friends who have kids who are in the LGBTQ spectrum, and it's really, really hard because those kids really, really, really struggle with their identity. My oldest has very much struggled with her identity with mental health issues. And there's a lot of assumptions about the value of the individual, and the biases and the discrimination that happens are very frustrating. I know that, our colleagues who are Black, suffer from huge amounts of discrimination. And the darker your skin is, so there's a range of brown, there's a range of Black, right? There's ranges of skin tones. And the lighter your skin tones are, if you are African American or if you are Asian, the better you tend to be treated and the easier promotions tend to be. And the darker you tend to be, the more harshly you tend to be treated and the more discrimination they tend to face. I also see it a lot of times with, hair color and hairstyle. How many women do you know who cover their gray? Except that now that gray has become like a hair fashion kind of thing, right? And, we have strong degrees of ageism in this country. I see it a lot, particularly in the computer science field. It is not unusual for people to retire in their late 40s or early 50s in the computer science field, because there are very strong ageism kinds of things going on. So I have known more guys who are admittedly middle class, middle-aged white guys who are programmers who get laid off in their early 50s, late 40s, and then they find it really, really hard to find another permanent job. We have a really good friend of ours who a couple of years ago was laid off in one of the layoffs here in RTP, and it took him almost 2 years to find another job. And that was strictly ageism. It had absolutely nothing to do with his skill levels or his ability or anything else. And it was really that ageism going on. And ageism is a thing, right? And your value has nothing to do with your age. Obviously, in order to hold a job or in order to do particular jobs, you have to have the mental faculties. But I'm going to tell you that a 40-something or a 50-something probably still has the mental faculties in order to do the job. And they have more experience. But, it's definitely harder to get hired in the computer science field. And I could go on and on and on with the examples here. And it's really fascinating to me to see, how you dress, how you look, how your hair is done. Do you have the right glasses? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have the right accent? Do you sound like you know what you're talking about? Well, I'm actually very lucky because I didn't grow up here in the United States. I grew up primarily overseas. I moved to the US when I was 11 and a half. And by that point, I had a very neutral accent because I was going to an American school overseas, and in Rio de Janeiro and in Venezuela. So I had American teachers that were all English speakers, and I tended to speak English with a completely nondescript accent. I have found that the fact that I speak English with a completely nondescript accent to be a huge deal. Turns out that I also speak Portuguese with a Carioca accent, and I also speak Spanish with a Brazilian accent. But, it's a challenge because people judge your accent, your skin color, your hairstyles, your clothes. Are they expensive enough or are they not expensive enough? Your jewelry, what are you wearing? How are you wearing it? What does it look like? Here on Facebook, on lives, people judge by what does the background look like or not? Do you have adequate lighting? Does your microphone sound good? Do you have the most expensive microphone out there? And what's really interesting to me is that none of this really determines my skill or my value that I bring to you as a business owner. It's all very, very superficial. My intelligence doesn't mean jack shit if I can't help you with the problem that you have or you're hiring me for. So being the smartest person in the room or the prettiest or the best dressed or the straightest or the most Christian or the most Jewish or the most whatever, the whatever doesn't mean anything when you're hiring somebody in your business. And when you're working with somebody on your team, it doesn't determine their value or the value that they bring to your world. And this is just something that I've been seeing a lot of. It was something that I was meditating on today. And thank you guys. Thank you, Charlene. And, I encourage you guys, just because somebody speaks with an accent doesn't mean that they don't speak English completely fluently. It just may mean that they speak with an accent. Just because somebody looks or dresses Latino or because somebody looks Asian or whatever doesn't mean that they don't have value. It doesn't, really shouldn't really affect your hiring decisions and your business decisions. And, I wish that we would stop projecting our values onto other people and assuming things about who somebody is or what they are based on such superficial measures without understanding who the person is, at a personality, at an individual level. It's about determining somebody's value based on your interactions with them because they're a kind person, because they're a competent person, because they're a caring person, because they actually know what the heck they're doing, and really focusing on what value they bring, what education they bring, what perspective they bring to the discussion, rather than focusing on the superficial stuff that doesn't mean anything worth a hill of beans. And, it's just fascinating to me to see how much we project that. So I'm going to say it again. Your value has nothing to do with your size, whether you are thin or whether you're overweight. Your value has nothing to do with your skin color, your hair color, your eye color, your religion, your mental health status. Lord knows we have way too much stigma about mental health issues, period. Your value has nothing to do with your physical disabilities. Y'all, one of the most amazing girls who came through my Girl Scout troop in all of my years was a girl who had cerebral palsy. She went on to attend UNC Chapel Hill, and she is an amazing woman now, and she has graduated from UNC Chapel Hill and is now working at a top-tier tech company because her value has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that she has cerebral palsy and she has a physical disability and she was a kid who was adopted from overseas. Because you know what? She is one of the coolest people I know. Your value has nothing to do with your religion. Your value has nothing to do with your gender identity, with your sexual identity, your sexual preferences, any of that. You are you. You are valuable. You matter. I don't know who needs to hear this, but so many times we end up feeling like we don't matter when we really do matter so much to the world around us. And, it's like every single one of us influences the world around us. And it's because we're here that we make a difference. And, you may be feeling tiny, or you may be feeling small, or you may be feeling like, maybe you don't matter. I understand what that's like to feel like, honestly. I've had my fair share of that as we've gone through some of the things that we've gone through in our family. Despite the happy face that shows up on Facebook every night, there are definitely hard times, and we've gone through some hellacious times in my family. And what I've learned is it doesn't matter how much I weigh. It doesn't matter any of it. What matters is the difference that we bring and making the world a better place. So with that said, I'm going to do a couple of card pulls for y'all. And Beth, I am so glad to be talking about this subject because it's really important to me. I know it has absolutely nothing to do with digital marketing or business, but it has everything to do with our lives and, how much everybody really means and how important everybody really is. I've seen so many friends talking here in 2020 about how frustrated they are, how difficult their lives are, and how much they've been struggling. And, it's been a really rough year for so many people. It's been really tough. So many people have lost their entire business, their jobs, parts of their business, their marriages on the rocks. Kids are now being forced to be homeschooled in a lot of cases. I feel really bad. I really empathize for moms of small kids. My youngest is 13. He's in 8th grade. So a lot of the issues that moms of younger kids are dealing with are things that we just don't have to deal with. And I'm grateful because I don't know how y'all do it. I got to say hats off to all the moms of young kids who are dealing with homeschooling and virtual schooling and all the craziness that's been going on. And I know that this year has been beyond difficult for y'all. So giving y'all a huge shout out and telling you guys, I see you and I understand. And, while I haven't had to live exactly the same life, I know it's hard. So I respect that and mad kudos for me. So here is the Love Your Inner Goddess. I will go ahead and start shuffling the cards. Y'all tell me if you'd like me to pull a card for you. And if you would like me to pull one, tell me which card you would like for me to pull. And it is a whole new world. Life as we know it has fundamentally shifted, and it's going to be shifted for a while. So figuring out what our new normals are is of utmost importance in importance in adapting to the changes. The sooner we can adapt to all of our changes that are happening in our lives and find ways to make things work for us, the better we're going to do, and the better our mental health is going to do, and our financial health. And it's not always. So I got a top, I got another top, and then I've got a 7th. Okay, 7th. Okay, so I'm going to do the top one first because that one's just going to be easier. And then I'm going to pull the 7th card because I know Mega's going to also want that one. So this is the Earth Goddess. This is the Earth Goddess. To live the dream, we have to surrender the fantasy. This can be painful. It feels like the end when in fact it is the beginning. Once the pain passes, there is the joy of what we have yearned for coming to life. It may not be as perfect as the fantasy, but it will be real, and it can nourish us. We can build our appetite for life with dreams, but we cannot be fed by them. The soul requires real life experience to become fully alive, to have experiences and grow. There's a fantasy that wants to become reality for you. Don't let a few gritty moments or human imperfections prevent you from experiencing the joy of heaven on earth. Okay, so we're going to go for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 7. Gaia is number 7. It is the right time, or soon will be, for things to come together for you. If there's something that you really believe in, but have been waiting for a long time to bring to life or to see succeed, here's good news that something is beginning to stir. And at the right time, things are going to fall into place. There is a bigger question of divine timing about these matters. And it is not that you are or are not doing something right. Do not give up, but do give in to the wise timing of the Earth Mother, who knows how to grow all souls, all things into perfect fullness of divine expression. Yep. Yeah. So that's the 7th one. Do we have any other requests? I will shuffle again, and if there are any other requests, I'll be happy to pull. And y'all pray for me. I went to the gym this morning and I worked out, and I am so sore tonight I could hardly walk. So I had the heater on the butt warmer in my car to like try to heat up my back. But I think I'm going to be moving like an absolute grandma tomorrow. So y'all say a quick prayer for me that I am going to be able to move. So your Laura wants a top card. Ooh. You know, it's interesting, Meg. I get these cards that I like never ever see for people. And you know, when you get somebody new who requests a card, every once in a while you see one that you've never seen before. And this is one that I have not seen before as a reading. Beautiful Bandit, you can choose right now to feel good about yourself. If you've been beating yourself up, stop it now. Don't let anyone else decide how you should feel about yourself. Taking responsibility for your actions means that when you have done something that you feel is out of integrity, you do something about it that is constructive and useful. Damning yourself with judgment or allowing another to steal your self-esteem is neither of those things. The Divine Mother is telling you to forgive yourself and use your energy now to live the best life that you can. It's time to take your life back. Middle card. Yeah, I took some Excedrin a little while ago because I have a bit of a headache tonight for some reason. So here's the middle card, Elizabeth. This one's for you. When we have an active imagination, we can forget to use it for dreams and instead let it create nightmares. There's something that you've been worrying about. There's no need to torment yourself. Let go of any thoughts, attitudes, or beliefs that are based in fear. They are not helpful, necessary, or accurate. Everything has a positive and loving purpose, even if we cannot see or know what it is straight away. You'll find a loving solution comes to you easily and at the perfect time as you choose to avoid a fearful thinking. Let yourself be free to feel positive about your future and know that everything is going to be okay. And very on point for your little preteen. I was kind of guessing that that was going to be really on point for her right now. If I had a teen, well, I do have an older teen daughter, that would be one that she would end up probably pulling as well as a mom of a 20-year-old. You're welcome, Elizabeth. Would anybody else care for a card tonight? I am flipping and flopping the cards. I'm going to do one more for a general card pull for the group, just for fun and shiggles and grunts. Let's see. This one. Gelato Goddess. So this one is a general one. Have you given another the power to influence your sense of self-worth, or your direction in life? Choose with care whom you allow to get close to you and to guide you. It's obvious and yet easy to forget that if we accept guidance or influence from another, we want to make sure that they are living the kind of life and being the kind of person that we aspire to be. You can learn from and be inspired by others, but you must stay true to yourself. Do not allow anyone else's voice to become more important to you than the divine voice within your own heart. And that is it, my friends. I hope that y'all have a wonderful evening tonight. I hope that you take care. I hope that you are blessed. And know that you are worthy and that you are powerful, and you're loved, even in your darkest hours, even when it doesn't feel like it, but you are important and that you are valued and that you are an important contributor to the world around you. So everybody take care, be blessed. I'll see you guys on Sunday night. Thanks. Bye-bye.